In a democratic system, power is divided into three main categories. Imagine a triangle. At the top, you're going to have the government. The government is the executive council. When you say execute, like executioner, or in the computer you have an AutoX file, which is the executive file. Executive means to do. So the executive council is the council that is responsible for doing things in the country, and it's controlled by the president or the prime minister. In some countries, such as France, United States, and Iran, you have a president. And in some countries, such as Great Britain, Pakistan, or Malaysia, you have a prime minister. However, both of them are responsible for the cabinet. The cabinet consists of different ministries, such as the Ministry of Oil, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. For instance, Army is the responsibility of the Ministry of Defense, or tariffs are under the responsibility of the Ministry of Commerce. Or for instance, the taxes or taxation and collecting taxes from the people is the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance. However, in United States, minister is referred to as secretary. So you would say the Secretary of Education, the Secretary of Defense, or the Secretary of State. At the moment, Ms. Hillary Clinton is the Secretary of State in the United States, which means the Ministry or the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Now, at the top is the government. When you come down, you have two sides. At the right, you're going to have the Parliament, the House of Commons, the House of Lords. In France, you have the Parlement, or the Parliament. In England, you are going to have the House of Commons and the House of Lords. In United States, you have the Congress, and then you have the Senate, which is a much smaller Congress. Both of them, whether it's the Congress, whether it's the Parliament, they are responsible for legislations. Legislation, they are called the Legislative Council. Legislations means basically new laws. For instance, the government sends a bill to the Parliament. That bill is a proposed law. For example, the subsidies bill or the Patriot bill. Now, when that bill is accepted by the Parliament, it becomes a new legislation. And when it enters the Constitution, then it is referred to as an act. For example, you have the Patriot Act, or the Act 44, or the Act 3, which is the main subcategories of your national constitution. The Constitution is the book of laws in every country and is divided to three categories. You can have civil law, criminal law, and commercial law. For example, divorce is related to civil law, whereas murder is related to criminal law, and bankruptcy is related to commercial law. Now, each of these laws are then subcategorized into acts, and each act will have articles. So you can have Act 44, Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. And then each article might have its own amendment. So Amendment A, Amendment B, or C. And that's how the Constitution is referred to. For instance, you can say, according to Act 5, Article 3, Amendment C, then you refer to that specific law. And that is under the control of the Judicial Council, or the Supreme Court of Justice, or the Supreme Court. So we can review at the top, we have the government, which is the Executive Council. Then you have the Parliament, which is the Legislative Council. And then you have the Supreme Court of Justice, which is the Judicial Council. And in many countries, these three powers are controlled by the sovereignty of the country and the Security Council. In many countries, you can have a Security Council that overlooks the relationship between these three powers, making sure that none of them is